Yeah, this is the first time I've seen in the flesh, actually to touch and fiddle with, a Gen 5. One of the biggest and most noticeable changes on the bike, certainly to ride, were the brakes. They've got BMW's new 4-pot calipers, which are a huge amount better than the earlier ones. And it's got an Akrapovic exhaust, so I can swank around the paddock now saying, "Ooh, I've got an Akrapovic." But to be fair, they run pretty quiet anyway. Another nice little feature is the rear light tail tidy, if you will, comes out of this panel here. But obviously when you take it off, you're left with a big gaping hole. But BMW do this little fill-in blanking plate with a nice little BMW badge to finish the back of the bike off. It just looks neat.
You like things to be nice and tidy?
I like tidy is good in my book. There's a potentiometer here on the fork. So when you turn the fork, or turn the handlebar should I say, it knows what angle the steering head is, which must be something to do with slide control or something like that.
It's actually got a sensor on it, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's one thing the Gen 4 didn't have. Oh, it's got little blanking plates here too, over the mirrors. That's obviously where the mirrors come out of, and the little blanking plates there.
You like that too, don't you?
I do, I like stuff which finishes it off, otherwise it's just a gaping hole. Other differences are you can alter the swinging arm pivot point to generate more grip or less grip depending on what you want from the back. You've got an adjustable tie bar, so you can adjust the ride height more accurately. In there, that's your ride height adjuster, which is a definite advantage. This is your preload, so that's all this fork does, is alter preload.
What's it saying, tiny right?
It says 1 turn equals 1 millimetre, so you do 1 revolution and it puts on, because it's a fine pitch thread, it'll put on 1 millimetre of lift, if you will. So you can alter it up by 1 millimetre at a time. This leg, this will do the rebound and compression. So this does rebound and compression, and that is just purely preload. No, it's all electronic. I mean, you can alter. There's a hydraulic preload on the spring. You can alter, obviously, this preload on the spring through that. But that's the only mechanical thing. This potentiometer here measures the attitude of the swinging arm to the bike. So every time you alter the ride height, you've altered something. So you'll have to alter it in the electronics. You have to alter the preferences, not preferences, but settings to give it balance, so it knows where its ground zero is, I suppose. This particular bike has got the upgraded M levers and the brake guard off the M, which is a nice little touch. I'm going to be interested to find out more about the altering the swinging arm pivot point. I kind of know the theory, but it'll be interesting to ride something which I can play about with and experiment altering. You can see it's got 1 dot, 2 dots, 3 dots. So they're obviously 3 positions. And you see the 2 flats there, you put a spanner on there, you slacken off this large nut here around the outside. That's like a lock nut, and then you put a spanner on there and then rotate 2 dots to the top, or rotate 3 dots to the top, and that will raise or lower. I think it's in its lowest, looking at it now, I would say it's in its lowest position, or it could be at its highest position, who knows. All these things I'm going to be finding out. Essentially where it is now, it's in road shift pattern, so 1 down is first, and then you've got 5 gears up. To move it into the race mode, you literally just take the bolt out and shove it in there. So I'll do that right now. Huge debate really about which is the best way to shift on the track, whether it's road and race. You started off using road pattern and shifted to race pattern, largely through necessity, because I was racing at Misano, and going back a few years ago, Misano was an anti-clockwise circuit, and there was a section of the track he went from first gear to sixth gear with the bike leant over, which was virtually impossible running road shift. Hence I ran race shift. For that event, got used to the idea of it and never went back. Personally speaking, I think race shift has a definite advantage, because when you're changing up you need a very positive gear change, you know, very instantly, where when you're changing down you've got, you know, a surprising amount of time to go down through the gears. So it just makes it much more positive change, in my humble opinion. Not wanting to start a controversy. That's the gear change done. I've also got some bobbins to go on them.
And why do you need bobbins particularly?
Well, at the moment it's got obviously just the side stand, so should I want to put tyre warmers on the bike, which I will, I need to get the wheels off the floor, so ideally you need the bobbins to go on to create an area where you can put the bike on the stand, and the stand obviously lifts the back wheel off the floor. And that's it, track ready BMW. Let's rock.